Howdy. Chris, thank you for your continued support of all of us who believe greatly in the Second Amendment, and certainly it's proud for me to take the stage here as an avid supporter of the Second Amendment. But I might add, as Chris shared with you, also a frequent practitioner of it as well. Ever since the campaign ended, the coyotes are a lot more nervous in Texas. As a matter of fact, Ruger President Mike Pfeiffer just told me that the Coyote Killer Special is selling so fast that they've had to suspend all of their orders until they can address their backlogs. Speaking of critters, let me address this elephant that's in the room. That's my recent campaign for president. Being the Republican frontrunner, it was 3 of the most exciting hours of my entire life. But I've come to grips with it, and the only lasting effect is that I refuse to go on a stage that has more than one podium on it. Now, officially, I've only suspended my campaign. I never really quit. So technically, I'm still in the race, except I get to go home, I get to go hunting, and I still do about as well. But being governor of Texas is certainly no consolation prize. It still remains a great platform for addressing the issues of our time, taking a stand for those causes that we hold dear, standing up against a federal government that encroaches upon our freedom. What the Obama administration can't accomplish by legislation, it does by regulation. The power of the presidency involves the seeping encroachment of federal agencies into everyday activities of our citizens. When they couldn't get Congress to regulate greenhouse gases, the EPA took it upon itself to declare carbon dioxide a pollutant. It's not just the EPA that's raining down these new regulations to control human activity deemed politically incorrect. It's the Department of Interior, which often stands in the way of energy exploration. And it's the U.S. Department of Fish and Wildlife Services, which advances an extremist agenda that impacts recreational activities and conservation activities. I specifically take issue with the Fish and Wildlife's new regulations that require a federal permit to hunt or even capture or breed the scimitar horned oryx. Today there are 11,000 scimitar horned oryx on Texas ranches. In 1979, there were 32 of these animals. But the federal definition for the word taking, which now requires a permit, is so broad that these conservation efforts will be undermined as ranchers now decide against cutting the federal red tape to breed this unique animal. With the new rule taking place 9 days ago, common sense has once again given way to extremism. And I let the Interior Secretary know this full well in a letter recently, because they're not just messing with Texas, they're messing with the American tradition of hunting and ranching. It seems if you're a capitalist or an outdoor enthusiast, the federal government's got you in their sights. The same federal government that would limit our right to hunt was secretly arming drug cartels in this ill-conceived operation called Fast and Furious. I'm not going to accuse Attorney General Holder of malicious intent, but I'll accuse him of sheer incompetence. Letting guns walk on the streets in order to trace them back to high-level drug cartel operatives, they engaged in reckless disregard for the safety of our own citizens. A federal agent is dead. And now, instead of taking responsibility, Mr. Holder is claiming ignorance. And I'll be real honest with you, I'm not sure which is worse. Authorizing such a reckless operation or not knowing about it. Either way, it is time for Eric Holder to step aside. Resign, Mr. Attorney General. You know, border security is one of the most basic obligations of our federal government. Our federal agents and local and state enforcement, they put their lives on the line every day to stop the trafficking of people and drugs. We need a federal government that stands with the men and women who wear the badge. Protect our freedoms by securing our border. Washington would rather meddle with our individual freedom instead of meeting its most basic constitutional requirement. What else would explain a government that wants to run your health care, control your local classrooms, and regulate the Second Amendment? Well, I've got a message for Washington, D.C. The Bill of Rights is not a cafeteria plan where you can pick and choose the amendments you like and discard the ones you don't. I don't care if the Second Amendment and the 10th Amendment are inconvenient for your bureaucratic schemes. We're not going to negotiate away our freedoms. I happily cling to my guns and my God. Even if President Obama thinks that that is a simple-minded thing in his elitist heart. In the myopic world of the liberals, guns are responsible for evil instead of the perpetrator of evil. But criminals are not bound by our laws. That's what makes them criminals. When a criminal breaks into your home, I'll let the liberals call the lawyer. I'm going to call Smith & Wesson. Armed and law-abiding citizens are a greater deterrent to violent crime than 1,000 laws passed by Congress. Your involvement in the National Rifle Association and in state firearm organizations, you're what keeps Congress honest. They cannot infringe upon our freedom when citizens are well informed. Let them know you carry and that you cast a ballot. Those are your two greatest constitutional weapons. Tell them in 2012 you'll not stand for bureaucratic meddling with hunting rights or bureaucratic bungling of border security operations, and we'll do it by making Barack Obama a one-term president. A lame duck Obama administration is a scary thing. But in the words of Nancy Reagan, just say no. God bless you, and thank you all for coming out and being a part of this great American organization. God bless you.
Thank you, Governor Rick Perry.